Hey St. Catharines, welcome to another episode of talkSTC. It's been a busy couple of weeks. Dealing with all kinds of issues throughout the city. We also had a very special visit. We've been celebrating and commemorating Remembrance Day and Remembrance Week. A lot of opportunities across the city to get involved. I do want to say a special thank you to all of the Legion branches for their armistice dinners that were held, for the Remembrance Day ceremonies that were held throughout the city. Also a special thank you to the Lincoln and Welland Regiment. They held a very, very special remembrance ceremony on November the 5th at the Memorial Cenotaph in downtown St. Catharines. And a very special guest, Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Edinburgh, Sophie of Wessex. My sincere thanks to all of the folks who helped to make that very special occasion happen at our Cenotaph, as well as congratulations to the Lincoln and Welland Regiment for winning the Duchess's Cup. And that competition means that they get to host it again next year. I don't know if we're necessarily going to have royal accompaniment for the next one, but congratulations to the Links and Winks for their hard work there. We also recently hosted our Arts Awards. It's an event dedicated to honoring all the hard work and the creativity, the dedication of our local artists, businesses, individuals, and organizations. It was a great opportunity to celebrate all of the outstanding achievements that the nominees make to our local arts community. On today's episode, we've got two awesome segments. I will start off by talking with Councillor and Deputy Mayor Bill Phillips about the St. Catharines Sports Hall of Fame inductee ceremony, which is coming up. And then after that, I'm going to talk with some staff from City Hall, Andrea Connolly-Miele and Karen Doyle, about all the great things that are coming up in the month of December around the city. But I will begin with my Deputy Mayor, Bill Phillips. Bill, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We're going to talk about the St. Catharines Sports Hall of Fame, which you've been intimately involved with. Before we do that, though, a little bit of a bio. You've been the Grantham Ward Councillor for 17 years, about to turn the page into the 18th year.
That's right.
That is very impressive. You are a retired elementary school principal, which is, I think, why we get along so well, educators at heart, but also husband, father, grandfather.
Of five. Right.
Of five. You spend a fair amount of time wandering around Southern Ontario for travel baseball tournaments, I'm led to believe.
Yes.
Yes. And also very passionate. You've been involved with the St. Catharines Sports Hall of Fame for quite some time, am I right?
Yes. I would say it's been probably 16 years that I was asked to participate as a board member representing council by Mayor McMullen, and it's been going on ever since, and very much enjoy it.
That's fantastic. So the Sports Hall of Fame, when did it begin?
It started in 1990.
Okay.
With a group of individuals, Dave Howes, who the Wall of Fame is named after now at the Meridian Center, and a gentleman named Huey Cosgrove, Pat Sheehan, Al Kellogg, Whitey Frick. There's a couple of other people who got it started at that time, and it's progressed to where it is now.
So it's at the Meridian Center now, and,
right.
And for those in the community who don't know, there's the open end, the opposite end from where the team store is at the Meridian Center, but a beautiful display. They always have something from the St. Catharines Museum up about sports in the community, but that's also where we commemorate our members.
Right. Yeah, it started off way back when, basically as a 3-ring binder in the museum. And I kind of got involved. My initial involvement was we had an email one time when I was a counselor about somebody who had been or who is in the Hall of Fame, and she wasn't very pleased at the fact that she took her family to the museum here as a 3-ring binder, and that was all it was. So I talked to our recreation director at the time, Rick Lane, and talked to the mayor, and we worked through it, and the mayor at the time got some money for us, so we moved it, and we decided we were going to do plaques, really nice looking gold-plated plaques, and so each member has their name on a plaque, and we moved it from, or actually we created that and then put it at Seymour Hanna while the Meridian Center was being built, with the dream, if you want, of creating a functional Hall of Fame similar to what they have in Oshawa at the Meridian Center. And then when the Meridian Center opened, Rick got us some funding, and the mayor gave us some funding, and we've created what it is today.
And it's a really beautiful space. I mean, a lot of the public events that happen in the concourse, they wind up down at that end of the facility just because of like how nice it is to be down there and to be surrounded by the sports history.
Exactly, and for example, between periods of an Ice Dogs game, you see a lot of people moseying down to look at the Hall of Fame area. Kathleen Powell, who does wonderful work, she's our curator of the St. Catharines Museum. She has taken the lead as a staff member, and about every year or two, we change the focus of the Hall of Fame. Right now it's lacrosse. We're getting ready to change it into what is a variety of sports, because we just don't have lacrosse, soccer, or rowing, hockey. There's all other kinds of sports that have members on the Hall of Fame that have been given that privilege. So we're going to have a variety of sports coming up in our next one.
That's fantastic. I will say, I will always push for football to be recognized. I sometimes don't think people realize just the quality of football player that comes out of St. Catharines in the Niagara region, that spreads across the country, that's got roots in the CFL, that's been down south to the NFL. But that's my own personal little plug.
Well, I can say that to answer that, Hector Poirier, who was a former lineman in the CFL,
Yep.
is a member of the Hall of Fame. So
Wonderful.
there might be others. Well, one gentleman who is going into the Hall of Fame, Clay Brown, is in the University of Guelph Football Hall of Fame, as well as being an Olympic oarsman in Rome and Mexico. So there's another football player for you.
There we go. I love it. So, to be nominated to enter the St. Catharines Sports Hall of Fame, what's required? What are the criteria? I know we've got an athlete and a builder category, so can you expand a little bit on that?
Well, basically, as an athlete, you have to have been retired for 3 years from
Yep.
what you were doing. So if you played in the NHL or CFL, NFL, whatever, you have to have been retired for 3 years before you can, your name can be put forth. And as a builder, you have to be a certain age in order to be nominated for induction. And as far as anybody that's listening can put forth a nomination by going online, getting a nomination paper online, filling it out, sending it in. Our chairman is Peter Partridge,
Yep.
who does a wonderful job. And he brings forth the nominations for this year, and then our group, our board members, go through a series of discussions as to who, and we vote. And 5 members a year
Yep.
are put into the Hall of Fame. And if a person doesn't get into the Hall of Fame this year, who was mentioned, then his or her name will stay, and possibly in subsequent years, they'll get a nomination.
Excellent. So it began in 1990. I've got a very impressive list here of folks, people like Jack Gatecliff, Stan Mikita, Neil Campbell, Rex Steimers, Marilyn Badeau, Bill Shank, Tanya Verbeek, which is the pedigree of pedigrees when it comes to wrestling.
Right.
November 15th, though, we're going to be inducting our newest members. So there's a couple of inductees. We'll start with the first one. Don Betts is going in as an athlete in bowling. Tell me a little bit about Don Betts.
Don Betts, 1990 Ontario Bowling Hall of Fame member. He won 2 gold and 1 silver at the Nationals, and twice he was Canadian Bowler of the Year. And to add to that, he lives presently on the East Coast, and he's driving all the way from the East Coast to St. Catharines to get his induction in person. So that's very impressive.
That's fantastic.
I want to mention we have one lady who played fastball in St. Catharines, a lady named Tody Bradshaw.
Yeah.
And quite often she will come in from Vancouver and she'll fly all the way in just to be here. Not because she's already inducted, but the last 4 or 5 years she's been here just so she can see it all. So it means a lot to these people.
I love that. And I will say, I'm just going to throw out Don Betts, Sir Winston grad.
Yes.
Go Bulldogs. Clay Brown is being inducted as a rower. Tell me a little bit about Clay.
He rowed in the Olympics
Yep.
for Canada in Rome and Mexico. And as I said, he's also a member of the Football Hall of Fame at Guelph, and coached football and in secondary school here. I think it was at collegiate, but I'm not sure. And also coached rowing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's, I believe, a collegiate grad as well.
Yes.
Go Collegiate. Mike Iggulden, hockey player who I think a lot of folks in the community would know.
Hockey player, played NCAA at a very high level. Also played a few games with the San Jose Sharks and the New York Islanders, and was a member of the Spengler Cup team.
Very nice. Yeah. And Iggulden is Ridley College.
Yes.
Go Ridley. We've got Bob Miller for basketball, and he's going in the builder category.
That's right. And we're going to be discussing to ensure that in the future nominees or the people who are inducted, we're going to have at least one builder. Yep. Or at least one athlete, which is never a problem. We're going to make sure that we diversify as much as we possibly can to get a larger section. Bob Miller basically is the originator of CYO basketball.
Yeah.
He is a basketball guru. That started in 1992, continues today. I don't know how many thousand basketball players have gone through his system, but all the way from house league to provincial champions. So it's going to be very interesting to have Bob with us, and of course his son is on our council.
Yes, so. He is. I will say, I think the name Bob Miller is pretty much synonymous with basketball in St. Catharines.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and so I'm not sure which high school he went to, but I'll just say CYO. There we go. And then Jane Traguno-Stamp, who's a rower.
Right. She was on 3 Olympic teams, and also was ranked in the top 10 nationally in swimming. So two-time elite athlete. So we're looking forward to seeing Jane also.
I was going to say, like, you've been around sports your whole life like I have. When you read bios like this, do you never feel kind of bad that, like, just not even close, not even touching the level of some of these athletes?
That's right. Oh, yeah. It's amazing when you read the bios of these people, what they've done, and from everything from boxing to rowing, you or I probably will never be nominated. You might be because you played football at Queen's. But
one year on the practice squad does not a Sports Hall of Fame resume make, my friend.
But, my time playing varsity volleyball at Brock probably won't get me there either. But anyways, it's a really great board to be on. They're very passionate. They take their job seriously, is to make sure that we get the right people. We have a lot of interesting discussions, and Peter makes sure that we have regular meetings to discuss, who's going to come in, but also where we're going. What's really exciting coming up is, and we're going to try and put a touchscreen TV into the Hall of Fame, so you could just go up and touch, and then the names would come up, and you'd see Don Betts, and his picture would come up, and his bio would be there. But what we're now going to do is there's going to be a QR code.
Yep.
Be inserted somewhere, and you could just go on the QR code, and then all of a sudden the list of nominees or inductees, sorry, not nominees, inductees will come up, and then you'll be able to access every one of them.
That's phenomenal.
And see a picture and see what that person has done. So that's pretty exciting.
Lots of work for Kathleen Powell.
Lots of work for Kathleen Powell. Thank goodness for Kathleen. I don't know where we'd be without Kathleen, because she does a wonderful job.
Bill, I appreciate you coming in to talk today. We didn't get a chance to get any Grantham Award news, so I'm going to have you back and we can have a discussion about Grantham.
Sounds good.
But I appreciate your time today.
Appreciate you being here.
Right
Thanks
on.
very much. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, we'll be back right after this. Welcome back, St. Catharines. Up next, we're going to talk to a couple of our guests. Andrea Connolly-Miele, our community events coordinator. This is your second time on the show.
It is indeed.
I don't invite many people back for a second opportunity.
Thank you. I appreciate being a repeat.
There you go. And Karen Doyle, our tourism marketing officer. Both of you at the city. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to talk about the fun things that the city has planned for the month of December. But before we do that, a little bit of bio stuff. Andrea, we've talked to you in the past, but you've now been with the city for 3 years. I think the number was 2 the last time we chatted. Mm-hmm. You are passionate about live events, particularly great live music. You're a travel baseball mom. What does that mean?
That means that from May until September, I have no life besides carting my son around, I would say Southwest Ontario and upstate New York, or Western New York, for baseball tournaments. Last year we went to Cooperstown. The year before that we went to Pittsburgh.
So
it's pretty busy.
Your life in the summer is similar to a lot of travel hockey parents in the winter, except you get better weather.
Exactly.
Folks, you made a bad decision. What can I say? That's awesome, though. Less awesome, you're a San Francisco 49ers fan.
I am.
So what sort of mistakes in your life did you make to come to that place?
So, to be fair, when I started to follow and enjoy football, we had Montana, Rice, Steve Young. So, there were some glory days that I was able to participate in.
Admittedly, and I will say, when I became a football fan, same idea. They had just won the Super Bowl with Joe Montana. I was an Icky Shuffle kind of person, but I grew out of that too. So, I mean...
I didn't grow out of it.
No, clearly.
Yeah,
clearly.
Here I am.
And yeah. And then Karen, you've been with the city for 9 years. Mom of 3, passionate about the community, loving all things sports and baseball specifically. And
baseball specifically. Also a travel mom.
Travel baseball mom.
Travel baseball.
Good choice. Again, better weather.
Yeah.
And you love pizza.
I do. I love pizza. It's a staple. Sadly.
I appreciate that. I like to tell people if I could eat it every day of my life, that'd be a pretty good life.
Yeah.
Pizza is really spectacular. But we're not talking about pizza. We're not talking about baseball. We're definitely not talking about the San Francisco 49ers. We're talking about the holiday season. Let It Glow, a celebration of light, is back. Tell me all about it.
So Let It Glow is going to launch on December the 1st. This is our 3rd year doing Let It Glow. And it was born of an idea and an understanding that folks in the community celebrate a diverse selection of holidays. They celebrate in different and unique ways. And so to do Let It Glow, a celebration of light, sort of leans into a little bit more inclusive, a little bit more diverse, and a little bit more expansive.
And I will say it's kind of a cool take on how to celebrate the season as well. It's different from what other communities do, and I appreciate that because, I will admit maybe a little bit of skepticism when it first popped up, but the uptake, the way people respond to it has been really awesome. So December 1st to January 7th, what's involved with it?
This year we will be activating in Port Dalhousie as well as downtown. The primary large-scale activations will be happening in Port Dalhousie with some additional lighting and selfie installations, some beautiful trees in the downtown core. December 1st is the kickoff in Port, and all of the activations remain lit until January the 7th.
All right. So, I mean, there are a couple new things going on for Let It Glow. Karen, what sort of exciting stuff do you think people are going to want to know about within the community for that? That's a good solid, is that a 5-week run?
It is a 5-week run, and we always extend it past the new year to try to capitalize on that week that kids are still out of school to give families something to do. I think what's great about Let It Glow in the way that we do it, like last year and the year before, we spread it out throughout the downtown and throughout Port Dalhousie to try and, bring it to as much of the community as we could. But it sort of thinned it out a little bit, and we wanted to be able to really make a big splash, and Rennie Park is perfect for that, and it's a great location. It's a great community. We had great community support there last year. So this year we've decided to move it all into Rennie Park, as Andrea mentioned, but we're doing bigger activations, bigger installations, lots of fun things to see, and the great part about it is that you can go back as many times as you want. This is not a one-off thing that, that happens and then it's over. You can go back. You can go every night if you want to. You can grab a coffee and wander through. It's free. There's no admission for anybody to come down and enjoy it. There will still be pieces in the downtown. We've got that terrific alleyway that we light up, the James Street Alley.
Yep.
With the snowflakes, and that feeling of walking through that beautiful tunnel of snow. If you're headed to an Ice Dogs game or an event at the Meridian Center, there's always a display at the Rankin Bridge there, and of course City Hall.
Yeah.
Kind of lit up like the Clark Griswold House with all the beautiful lights and
which is what
so.
everybody loves.
Yeah.
I will say one of the cool things about the event last year, I had a lot of people come up to me and say exactly that. They love that, downtown's great, and they want to come downtown and they want to be able to support and see the lights because City Hall always looks amazing, but the Downtown Association does a great job as well. But they liked that it was outside of the downtown and it was taking advantage of some of the other great places in the community that people like to go. Port Dalhousie was wonderful. The light tunnel in particular, which I enjoyed a great deal.
It will be back.
It will be back.
Excellent.
Yep.
So the launch events in Port Dalhousie, Andrea, tell me a little bit about the launch event.
As I mentioned, it happens on December the 1st this year. Rennie Park, like we talked about, is the primary location for these phenomenal large-scale activations. So that's sort of when we flip the switch, if you will, and we're going to light it up, and I can't wait to see the community enjoy these pieces. But what we've added this year that's very cool is we're doing carousel rides in Lakeside Park. So on December the 1st, the event runs from 5 until 8 p.m. You can, as Karen said, it's sort of self-guided. You can come in and enjoy Rennie, and you can head on down to Lakeside Park. For the first time ever, you can hop on the carousel, take a winter carousel ride. And we do have a special guest who will be joining us from the North Pole for photos.
Does this special guest perhaps wear a red suit?
He does.
Wonderful. I had a chance to have a conversation with him last year. It was a good time. It had been a while, but it was nice to do. I think that the idea of the winter carousel, like, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Has the carousel ever been open at that time of year?
Not that I'm aware of. I think
this is the first time.
Well, the benefit is, if we're wrong, there are historians in the community that will let us
will
know.
correct us,
And I
yes.
appreciate that. So Rennie Park, lights, music, roaming entertainment. Spider-Man, Buzz Lightyear,
You
the
got
Grinch, like
Grinch, Winter Bell, I believe, is it Bell? Yeah,
Christmas
so we've
Bell,
got
yeah.
some really fun characters that kids can interact with. They're just going to kind of be roaming around. We've got some busker type activities, some
DJ,
cool,
so there'll be
we've got-
music,
yep,
and
oh, very
we can do
nice.
impromptu dance parties all across the park if
kinda
that's.
cool.
Impromptu dance parties are the best kind of
I
dance parties.
totally agree.
So in addition, there's Port Delicious.
Port Delicious, yes.
Tell me about that. How's it tying into Let It Glow?
Well, I think what we're trying to encourage the community to do, and anybody who comes and visits St. Catharines and Port Dalhousie, is to just always spend a little bit more time and get to know the cool businesses and the unique community that Port Dalhousie is. So we're encouraging people to either come down and have a bite to eat before they go into the park, or go into the park and then, go somewhere after and have a drink, grab a hot chocolate, grab a coffee from Balzac's, and really just try to support the businesses that are in Port. So the Port Delicious program is throughout the park, we'll have some QR codes and some signage, and we'll encourage people to scan those QR codes and then enter to win a Port Delicious prize pack. So you could win, fried chicken and beer package. You could win chimney cake and coffee package. And so it's really just a way for us to encourage people to visit the businesses, but also to support those businesses in exposure and opportunity for people to go in and eat, drink, and be merry.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Just as a complete side, QR codes.
Yeah, they're back.
They are back.
Thanks to COVID.
The pandemic was rough for
Yep.
society, but QR codes did well.
They
Yeah.
really came up.
Because I thought that they were gone.
Yeah,
Circa
me too.
2019, I remembered them and I thought,
Yeah.
that was an interesting idea that never
Yeah,
took off. And
I
now all of
know.
a sudden they're
But now
everywhere.
you can just scan it
So
with your
easy.
camera. Remember, you used to have an app, and
Yeah.
there was a lack of trust in what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's just a quick.
Apparently now we all trust QR codes. So a lot going on in Port Dalhousie. You mentioned a lot going on downtown. I heard a rumor, so you talked about the big guy in red,
Yes.
that he might be making a second trip.
We have been very good this year. So
Okay.
he has agreed to come for a second visit. Another great free community event that we're doing is a family skate at the Meridian Center on December the 10th. It runs from 12 to 4. Santa has agreed to come and take photos with community members. We'll have some skating characters. We'll have hot chocolate. Maybe, is it Batman? Maybe Batman will make an appearance as well.
That's fantastic. I mean, if there's one thing that kids seem to love this time of year, it's running into Santa Claus, just, being wherever they are and
Yeah.
being a part of it. So very, very cool. Yeah, I had heard Bluey might be there, Batman, Elsa, Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
Mr. and Mrs. Claus.
That's good.
correct. He agreed to bring her this time.
That's
so.
wonderful. That's good for him. What other events are going on in December? I mean, we focus on Let It Glow, phenomenal, and I think the community's really loving this initiative over the last couple of years. But what other events do we have going on?
So the winter at the market starts in the month of December. It runs, there's 3 dates. We've got December 6, 13, and 20. It's from 4 to 8. So it's a little different from our standard farmers market. It's more artisanal makers. It's a great way to shop local for Christmas gifts. That's at the Market Square. And another skating opportunity, we will once again be doing a family skate at Seymour Hanna on December the 31st. That runs from 9:30 until noon. We'll have all 4 pads going, and once again we'll have one with the lights off, with glow sticks and neon toques and music, like a dance party, which feels like a theme.
Very, very cool. So last piece I want to touch on, and you mentioned it just a second ago, talking about supporting local. Karen, you're an AcDev.
Yep.
Why is support local important? Like, why is this a thing that we have to keep focusing on?
Because when there aren't visitors in town, our friends and our neighbors who own these businesses rely on us as a community to support them. And I think that what we learned during COVID was that people had the opportunity to explore their backyard and think, oh, I didn't even know that this was here. And I think continuing to support that now that COVID's over is super important, because without these great businesses and these, supporting our local wineries and supporting our local cheese shops and our local bakeries, if they don't stay open, we give people less reason to come visit us. So they really are the backbone of our community, not just from a tourism perspective, but really just from how we operate as a community.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those, it's another thing that's come about in COVID. A lot of people got used to the idea of, ordering things online and using, one of the big brands to get your stuff delivered to your door. And the convenience is there in some cases, but I think we sometimes lose perspective. You could probably pay the same price, but head down to a store a couple blocks away. And I see this, it pops up on the internet all the time, right? But when you buy something from that local store, maybe you're helping them put their kids into a rowing program, or you're paying for a sponsorship that your kid's team might take advantage of at some point. It's not going to necessarily some big monolithic company based in the US or overseas. It's staying in the community, and those dollars get recycled and they get reused, and those folks are able to continue to have their quality of life as well. So I think support local is an important piece that we don't always remember. So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and when it comes to gift giving, I like to physically hold it and see it and think, is this person going to like this, and does it do something for me? Because if it does something for me, I feel like when I give it to that person, they're going to have that same feeling. And so, being able to go into the stores and the shops and the different spots I love it.
It's been one of my favorite parts of Christmas since I was a little kid, is being able to walk into the mall and have the wander around and find the things that just the right thing for just the right person. So, ladies, I appreciate you coming in, talking about all the awesome stuff that's happening in December. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us. I hope to be back.
I will definitely have you back, just so that Andrea can't pretend like she's the best. Thank you so much. We will be right back after this break. Hey, St. Catharines, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Deputy Mayor Bill Phillips. Thank you to Andrea Connolly-Miele and Karen Doyle from the city for talking about Let It Glow and all the great things happening in St. Catharines. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you at the next episode of Talk STC.